beautiful people. It's me, and I just wanted to check in because life is feeling kind of hard right now for so many people. I know so many people who have lost jobs, who are struggling to pay for college, who are struggling to take care of their families, and I just wanted to check in for a moment. I was at a cafe and I was sitting at this cafe enjoying, breakfast and coffee. And there was a woman sitting next to me, and she was sitting there and she had her three young children. And must have been about 18 months, 3 years old, and maybe, 5 years old. And they were sitting so quietly. And she looked at me and she said, "Oh, I just love your outfit. You look so put together." And I just don't feel put together at all. And I remember thinking, wow, I just dropped my youngest kid off to college. You're in a completely different phase of life than I am. And the goal is not to look put together. And so I just complimented her and I told her that, she was doing a great job out with her kids and that they were just, had great manners. And I think that made her feel better, but she still seemed sad because she didn't look put together. And it got me thinking about being a girl's girl versus being a good girl. And just, bear with me for a moment. I feel like as women, there is so much pressure on us to be quote unquote good girls. Whether that be dressed perfectly in the most fashionable outfit, whether that be the perfect mom who has the most well-behaved kids, whether that be, the most successful at work, the nicest, whatever it means to be a good girl. There's so much pressure, and most of us constantly feel like we're never measuring up. I know I have felt like I've never measured up. And I think that's because it's impossible to measure up. The standards that we are held to be a good girl or the perfect woman are unattainable, unrealistic, and just bull at this point. And I just wanted to say that I think it's much more important to be a girl's girl than to be a good girl. And that was just one small example, just encouraging another woman in whatever place they are, because we're all in different places, is part of being a girl's girl. I remember when I had a radio show a few years ago, and one of the first episodes I had on my radio show, I shared where I was first introduced to the mean girl philosophy. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in first grade. I was at a brand new school. I was in elementary school. And there was a group of girls who came in the bathroom when I was in the bathroom. And they were the cute girls, the popular girls. And they looked at me and they were like, "Oh, you're cute. We want you to be our little sister." And I was so elated that they were going to take me under their wing and I got to be their little sister. But what I didn't know is that these girls were very mean and petty and not very nice at all. But I still felt like being their little sister gave me some protection from their meanness and their pettiness. And when I was no longer their little sister, when they didn't like me anymore, I felt that. And it really hurt. And I think that we think, okay, well, you were 6 years old. They were 8 years old. We grow out of that. But some of us don't. Some of us grew from being mean girls to becoming mean women. Unfortunately, and I have been around a lot of women. Sisterhood is my thing. And there are still mean girls at our ripe old ages right now. There's still mean girls who exist. Just last week, I was on social media platform and one woman made an apology post or a transparency post because she had asked a question about being in a certain sorority, which was considered a no-no. It was considered something that you do not ask in a public forum, and people were very mean to her about it. Like, she should have known. Why are you asking this question? And you could tell from her transparency post that it really hurt her. And so I just want to explore that right now, so many of us are losing our jobs or not getting the jobs that we're qualified to get, or being oppressed in so many different ways, that we really need to learn how to be girls. No more mean girl stuff. We can't afford to be mean girls. There are too many forces working against us that we have to learn to be girls. Michelle Obama made a social media post about how the one thing that we can do better as women is to support one another, that sometimes we don't support each other. And I think that comes from a place of judgment. And it's because we judge ourselves so harshly. And it's because we've been indoctrinated to have to achieve this level of perfection that doesn't exist. And in that quest to achieve this level of perfection, this level of acceptance, this level of validation, just like what I wanted from those big girls when I was a little girl, I wanted that validation and that acceptance, that we set these standards for ourselves that are unattainable, and then we judge other people by those same standards, which are unattainable. So in this time, we really need to learn how to be girls and stop trying to be good girls. Because what I'm going to let you know, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Being a good girl is based in patriarchy. All of the things that we were taught about what it means to be a good girl, the way we dress, the way we talk, the way we act, what we do. Now there's other names for it. There's, whether it's being a trad wife or being, submissive or whatever it is, it's all based in patriarchy. And patriarchy is based on holding us back and holding us down, because their greatest fear is that if we were able to be girls and unify and flourish and just be all that we were created to be, that there would be no stopping us. And so that's why patriarchy exists. It exists to hold us back from that knowledge, from that reality, from that experience, and to stop us. So I'm challenging us as women to learn how to be girls. And I'll talk a little bit more about what I have found helps to learn how to be a girl in the next video. And it's going to require some work. It's going to require some growth, and it's going to require quieting the judgment. All right. I hope you're doing well. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.